Hi, guys. Welcome back to the channel. I am so grateful and honored that you come and check me out periodically. And sometimes I bring guests. And today I have Kerry of the Homesteader How YouTube channel. He's a homesteader, a carnivore, and a master. I call him the master of the carnivore diet. He's really learned a lot. And I think it's important that when we're carnivores, we have some tips on how to meal prep. Carnivore is very simple, which is why we like it, but we do need to have some tips to get us on the right path. So, Kerry, thanks for coming. And I know you've done this for a couple of years now. And I'm curious, like, how do you manage? You have a beautiful family and you're busy filming the documentary, the Healing Humanity documentary. And I just want to make sure we get some tips from you on how to meal prep. How do you manage such a busy life and yet you're managing to do okay? Give us some tips, Kerry.
Yeah, absolutely. So for me, being a homesteader, a big part of that is kind of being prepared and planning. And so that's kind of helped me on the carnivore journey. It's interesting, Dr. Hampton, because my wife is the exact opposite. Like, we get a day off and I'm just like, what are we going to do today? We got to plan it all out. And she's just like, oh, whatever. But it works out well that way. We balance each other out. But I think there's a quote, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail.
Amen.
And that's the big thing for me, is really being prepared on carnivore. So things that we do, I have a family of 6 and we're all eating carnivore now. It's crazy. It wasn't always that way. So there's a lot of planning and preparation that goes into it. Planning ahead of time what you're going to eat the next day, that's a big tip. Before carnivore, it's just like, whatever, I'll figure it out tomorrow. But now it's like, we got to pull out a roast. We got to pull out some meatballs we made up. We got to pull out something the day before from the freezer. So having a good stockpile to pull from has really helped me. When we prepare things, and I would do this whether or not I had a family of 6 eating this or not. When I was doing carnivore solo, I did this as well. I would over prepare. So I would meal prep and be like, okay, I'm going to have burger patties for lunch, 2 burgers. No, I'm going to go to Costco. I'm going to get that whole sleeve of burgers. I'm going to cook all of those up because they're going to end up in the fridge, right? I'm going to eat them tomorrow cold, or my daughter Emma's going to eat them the next day or whatever. So when we cook up things, that's one of the only things with carnivore that's harder. You almost got to always cook something, or you're eating something cold the next day. There's a lot more cooking. So when we cook in our house, we go overboard. We'll cook a lot. We just did a big meal prep the other day. We started making meatballs. And it's cheap, ground beef. It's inexpensive. But then we started like, oh, you can mix this up a little bit. You can do a little bit of bacon in the meatballs. That's pretty good.
Right.
And we did this one, Dr. Hampton. It was blue cheese crumble and bacon in the meatball. It's so good. And so we did like a little batch here, a little batch there. And then we're like, let's meal prep this to make it easier so we don't have to cook every day. So we just went out. There was a sale on ground beef. We got this big tube of ground beef. It was like a 10-pound tube. And we're like, we're going to make as many meatballs as we can. We ended up making 140 meatballs in one day, just the whole family. Like, let's just put it all together and like all work really hard for like an hour, cook them all up. We put them in freezer bags, and now our freezer's full of different flavors of meatballs. And so when we're ready to eat, we just go in the freezer, pull one out, throw them in the air fryer, warm them up. I even eat them cold sometimes once they're thawed out. But that has really helped me with the meal prep, is doing larger batches ahead of time. I guess it's important to plan while you're carnivore, but the planning part was also important in my early stages of carnivore. So just real quick, when I started carnivore, I'm like, I'm going to do this for 30 days. I always tell people you're better off committing for like 60 days. But a big thing that I think helped me get through that 30 days successfully was also that planning, that preparing. So I said to myself, what do I got to do to manage this for 30 days? Well, I got a budget. It's going to be expensive. And I'm going to allocate some of my more favorite meals earlier in that 30 days so I can get through it. So I remember my first meal was like ribeye and shrimp. I didn't eat ribeye and shrimp every day. That's expensive. It was mostly ground beef later on, but I planned it out. And so being prepared and planning sort of ahead of time for that month really helped me succeed. I see a lot of people that sadly end up failing on carnivore, and it's almost always that lack of preparation, especially like around the holidays, for example.
That's right.
Oh, we don't know what we're going to do for Thanksgiving. We're just going to go to someone's house, and they end up getting derailed because they didn't plan and prepare ahead of time. So it's 2 P's that I think have really helped me, that planning and preparation.
Yeah, and I like that. We recently we went into a new kind of meat place and we purchased some ground lamb. And I like lamb because it's fattier, and, we always encourage people to eat high fat on the carnivore diet. And it seemed, my wife was like, why don't you just cook all of it? And I was like, that's a lot. And it was interesting. I followed her advice. It was all cooked. And then literally within a day, it was just gone. So, when you live in a house where people following this dietary pattern, what you'll find is that there will always be somebody in the house that's hungry. And what's cool about that, in that moment when they're hungry, first of all, you're going to save them time because it's already prepared. You just got to warm it up if you're not eating it cold. But if there's ever a moment when they're going to deviate, right, then
Yeah.
they probably won't deviate because the food is there. And I think that's one of the biggest things that people need to understand. Preparation will then prevent you from falling into those traps when you're, oh, I'm in a rush. My oldest son, he teaches salsa dancing. He goes to LA Fitness and does that. If he needs something really quick, it needs to be available. So we try to keep boiled eggs and bacon and all kinds of stuff in the refrigerator where you can actually eat it cold. So just be prepared to do that. More importantly, yes, we're not eating, ribeye and shrimp every day like you suggested, but when you eat this way, you will not waste money on garbage food. You won't be, needing to snack and do those types of things. And then if you do want to snack, there are ways to make that work too. I know we have the American Diabetes Society website where we have ideas. And just like you guys were creative, sometimes you can just do your own experiment, or you can go to resources like that that'll show you how to actually do some creative stuff. We made a carnivore bread recently, and the ingredients are butter, sour cream, eggs, and pork panko, which is just ground pork skins. It took like 5 minutes to blend that together. You throw it in the oven, an hour later, you have bread. Now you can have a 1-carb slice of bread whenever you need bread. You can do like toast it with some cheese, and you can eat it guiltlessly.
Yeah.
Imagine. So there are things we can do. There are carnivore cheesecakes and all kinds of great ideas. So for those who need that, we keep it simple in my house, but for those who need that, those are available. So thanks, Kerry, for some meal prep tips. And the beautiful thing about your comments is that keep it simple, guys. This is not requiring, just keep it simple. It's low hanging fruit. Be prepared and plan. And if you do that really well. So thanks again. I'll make sure to link your channel in the video notes, and we'll collaborate on this and continue to do this great work of spreading the message of metabolic health. And for all those who are watching, just know you are part of this community. You do the same. You share videos, you talk to your friends and family about how you're thriving. And I guarantee you'll see your community grow and thrive as well. So thanks, Kerry, for being here today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hampton.